Hello to my air signs Libra, Aquarius and Gemini. Welcome to the Virgo new moon. You'll find the timestamps for your rising signs listed below. Hello Libra Rising, welcome to your horoscope for the Virgo new moon, happening very soon on Tuesday the 3rd of September at 11:56 a.m. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me, I apologize for missing the last full moon. I think as I've unpacked it and as I engaged in an aftercare ritual for that moment, I really came to realize just how important it was, or it is sometimes, to engage and to be a part of the feeling rather than analyze and prepare and approach with trepidation. The energy was really rising, and that brittleness, that sort of conflict that we felt in the world at large and in our own lives, the miscommunications and the people speaking out of turn, perhaps we spoke out of turn, all of this confusion that was sort of reaching a fever pitch. And finally, hopefully, there was room enough to say it like it is, to call it and to name it, to name whatever needed to be named. But amidst all of that, there was no room for me to come here to this virtual space and be with you. Now, we have something that feels like flatlands, that feels like a clearing, that feels like a moment, as they all are, to regroup and to reassess what's important to us. As we stare down the barrel of the next eclipse season, and I've got my eye on October 2nd for you, Libra Rising. That will be the final solar eclipse in Libra. This will be sort of encapsulating a journey that you've been taking for 12 months now, and examination or a culmination of what has been necessary for you to loosen your grip on as far as your selfhood is concerned. I've got a lot of respect and a lot of love for my Libra rising friends during this time of the astrology, because as I look at the chart, I can see that that is a fact, that is the story that we are approaching again. I also look at today the idea that Pluto, the lord of the underworld, the harbinger of destruction and rearrangement, is entering back into the sign Capricorn for 2.5 months, from September 2nd to November 20. And when I look at a Libra rising birth chart, I see the 4th house, the home, the root structure. And so what I've been telling everybody else in these horoscopes, in these readings, is that I think that this 2.5 month period is going to encapsulate what we have learned about upheaval, what we have learned about dissemination over the past journey with Capricorn and with Pluto. It's a once in a lifetime moment that we're sort of living through, and it may not hit you very, very, very personally, but I think topics around homeland and around destruction of root systems are prevalent at this time. And it's important for us to work with our empathy and to not drown in our empathy at this time. Looking at the necessity that you've needed to enact. What was that sentence? Looking at the brilliant way that you have reconciled the release, having to let go of parts of yourself, having to let go of layers of your being over this dance with the dragon's tail, and then looking at this moment of culmination as far as destruction and rebirth. And then also thinking about your rebellious spirit, and thinking about the idea that on the same day that Pluto moves back into Capricorn, Uranus stations retrograde. So there's another marker point on your 8th house of your contractual obligations, spiritual, financial, or otherwise, the way that you are beholden to other figures in this life. The the way that you've needed to exercise some rebellion or some revolution around those topics. All of this feels highly exhausting, but it might just be the current quality of time. But it feels really noble as well, Libra Rising. You've done brilliant work to get to this point and to engage in your life and in the work. So pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself. I don't know about what Pluto may show us. It does feel pertinent that this sort of last dance is occurring over these months. On the world stage, there is a lot of reckoning that is occurring with pre-existing power structures and the vice-like grip that they are clambering to maintain supremacy and control. And we think about the way that structures themselves, social structures, have kept so many human beings oppressed and repressed over time. We think about the language that reared its head, that sort of quite old-fashioned conservative rhetoric that keeps rearing up like the mongoose and the cobra, you know, which is which. And I also think about my own bravery at this time. And I think about the regressive nature, perhaps, of some of that bravery. I think about the way that I used to move around the world and consider, or not consider, be sort of fairly unself-conscious, perhaps, in my own expression of self, moving around the world, and how that's taken a hit over the past half a decade. And in that way, I've got something in common with the folks that are clamoring for the way that things used to be, because I would like to be brave again. And so maybe you can identify with that too, Libra Rising, that this feeling of sacrifice has left you a little bit raw and a little bit open. But perhaps it might be nice to start finding the bravery again. Rest assured that your bravery lies in Venus. It lies in the feminine emanation. Feminine in terms of art and creativity and beauty and pleasure. Feminine in terms of strength too. Feminine in terms of a commitment to an open heart. I love that you, as an air sign of the mind, have Venus as the guiding principle for your life. And it's really nice that Venus has come and made contact in Libra at this time for you too. It's really nice that Libra and the dragon's tail are coming together. So perhaps there's something that looks like a cold compress that can be put on the forehead of your vulnerability. I hope so, Libra Rising, and I hope that you feel this too. I hope that this is, I hope that the lessons, do eclipses bear lessons? I don't know. We get to take the lessons where we find them, don't we? So this feeling of shedding has revealed something of a freshness. I have dermatitis, and I was saying to my mum earlier today that it's like a natural chemical peel. Shedding to reveal the new skin underneath. So that's the astrology. And we can leave it there, I think. This new moon is occurring in your 12th house, which is very private. It's the house of pre-birth. It's the unconscious chambers of your being. So in relationship to things that occur in absolute privacy, work that you do in absolute privacy, I'll leave that with you as to what seed you might be sowing at this new moon, Libra Rising, but I will just show you the tarot very gently, because at 11 degrees, with the sun and the moon coming together, we talk to the Nine of Pentacles. And so what I see in the eyes of this individual is a clearing. After a tremendous load of hard work, after incredible sacrifice, after labor, they find themselves in the sunshine, in the verdant company of their labor. Excuse me. So I hope that for you too. It might be more private. It might not be so obvious to you, but maybe it might even just be some nice sweet dreams that you have for once. Unstable root systems or threatened root systems and a responsibility to release parts of yourself, they do take their toll, especially in such complex times too. You know, I think Mercury being retrograde for most of August led to a lot of confusion as well. So hopefully there's some clarification in these messages for you. And hopefully this is a nice soft prelude to the final eclipse in Libra in a month. But let's get you some tarot and see what we're looking at. Gorgeous. Use your skills that you've had since birth. Use that great capacity and tenacity that you have to grow something, to build something. When I look at the pages, or the princesses as they're sometimes called, I'm reminded of someone who was raised by the element, raised by the earth, raised by nature in this way. So this is a child of the earth. This is someone that knows exactly what to do in the natural world and exactly what natural order really looks like. There's nothing so ordered about nature, is there? There's a beautiful symphony and a poetry about it, but there's a wildness too and an unpredictability. And this individual knows exactly that to be a fact. And I think that the magic's going to hit you. I think that you're going to come into a safe, nurturing, comforting space to let it all hang out. And I think that once we really kind of calibrate with Mercury and realize that they're on the charge now, miscommunications hopefully will ease up a little bit, that what you've been receiving, perhaps in some sort of unconscious chamber, might be coming into its sort of clearer reality, and you might be able to put substance and texture to these more esoteric thoughts that are sort of rolling on your mind, or confusing or cryptic dreams might all of a sudden become clear. And if I've been triggering in any way about my language around the fourth house and roots and stability and destruction, I apologize for that. I really do. I must mind my words at this time because I know so many have instability at home. The Ten of Pentacles has come here to share with you that will restabilize in time. I'm not sure what it will look like, but I do know that this moment, this journey to a place of welcome and a sense of belonging, not everyone has access to, but it's everyone's right. And this is where the restructuring must begin. If we're going to learn anything from Pluto and Capricorn and the necessity to restructure our social systems, it must include this card for all. Health, home, and education, free for all. It has to be. The idea of property being an asset must be looked at with a very critical lens. We can't leave anyone behind. We've left far too many behind already. You know this to be true, Libra Rising, and I'm sure that it hurts to hear it because this is your reality right now. but you're doing everything that you can to shed, to recalibrate, to regroup, and to move forward and to help. Home, education, and health must be free for all. Wouldn't you agree? I love you very much, Libra Rising. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening. If you are still here with me, please put a gold medal in the comments in honor of every champion that walks the planet right now. If you would like to support my work, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and put some money in the tip jar, or you can subscribe for 10 Australian dollars a month. If you would like me to read your birth chart, I will draw you one. They look like that, and you can make your appointment at my website, umaruby.com. I'll leave all of the links in the description below. I will be with you in good time. I think actually we'll prepare for the unexpected, for this next partial eclipse in Pisces. On your birth chart, it looks like your active service might be emphasized, your magical acts of service, your empathetic, fluid, dreamy, intuitive acts of service in this life might be highlighted in some capacity. So I kind of want you to feel the potential of that as we prepare for the final eclipse in Libra that precedes. Take good care of yourself, Libra Rising. Much love. Hello, Aquarius Rising. Welcome to your reading for the new moon in Virgo, happening very soon on Tuesday, the 3rd of September at 11:56 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. And I want to apologize to you for missing out on the Aquarius full moon that occurred 2 weeks ago. As I'm sure that you can imagine, it was a really weighty one. It really did have such a lot of tension that it held, and I weighed everything up, and in the way that my schedule has changed over time and the limits that I've put on my energetic output, it really made the best sense for me to understand what I knew of the astrology and to allow it to wash over me and to really be a part of it and to feel it. The tension that was present and the relief that was felt after the fact was really profound. And so I hope that I didn't leave you hanging, and I hope that you were able to, in your own way, work with the moon and, you know, give away what you needed to its light. It's a big thing to have a lunation, a full moon in the first house that is so conflicted and so it was so brittle between your sense of self, your relationships, and your obligations to your root structure. That urge to rebel and that sort of fight and the heaviness that some of that lunation carried. All the while Mercury was also confusing everyone, because Mercury was retrograde. And so the staccato misinformation and confusing conversations may have been showing up too. The good news is that that moment in the astrology has passed us by. There will be more squares and tension and clashing of the titans to come for the rest of this year. But for now, there's a moment of clearing. Just as we sort of approach eclipse season and we enter into a new story of eclipses, a new journey of the dragon, there's a moment that's very honest and that provides us all with the opportunity to plant something. Virgo is meticulous in their understanding of the natural world. Virgo knows exactly how to conjure and to create with the natural tools around them. On your birth chart, Aquarius Rising, Virgo rules the 8th house, which speaks to our financial obligations to others, our energetic obligations to others, and those unconscious, unspoken contracts that we have signed in this life. Excuse me. This lunation, the sun and the moon at 11 degrees of Virgo, invites us to plant here. When I think about what we've been discussing and what we've been going through with the astrology, and when I think about the moment that we stand at now with Pluto and their temperamental sort of ebbing and flowing, and the next 20 years of Pluto co-present in your first house, there's something about a necessary clearing and the ending of something that is going to invite the next journey for you, Aquarius Rising. Obligations around contractual signatures, around relationships that you are obliged to see through in this life. These are the topics that I want you to sit with, and I want you to think about the opportunity that if we plant correctly, there might be something really bountiful and fruitful for you in the years to come. Virgo and Pisces will be the ones experiencing eclipses this year into next. So when thinking about your autonomy financially and thinking about your contractual signatures that you sign, these are the areas of life where there will be an urgency to release, to unfurl the grip, and also a deluge of extra possibility. And looking at the tarot that this new moon is speaking to, we get to think about our golden moment to be proud of ourselves. We get to think about what we know about cultivation, what we know about patience, what we know about the long game. We get to think about our reliance or the necessity to be with reliable people on this journey. It's okay to rely on other people because you're very reliable yourself, Aquarius. But these are the questions that are coming up, and you can see that this doesn't look so much like a joint endeavor at this juncture. Maybe there was lots of help, and in fact, I'm sure there was lots of help to create this sanctuary. But this moment that we're speaking to is solitary. There's someone here that feels really happy in their reflection, in their reflective mood, I should say, thinking about what they've achieved, what they've managed to produce and to create off the back of a lot of hard work. So I want this moment for you, and I want your intentions to include this as well. I know that it's so easy. Easy is the wrong word, but it's so predictable of an Aquarius to be overly concerned with other people. And we need that Aquarian principle in our lives. We need that philosophy. We need that commitment to the greater good, the larger group. It's also very important for an Aquarian to remember that they're included in that scenario, in that definition of humanity. They belong there. Great to cooperate, great to revolutionize systems that don't work anymore, and also great to sit at the dinner table at the end of the day and have a nice time. So hopefully this new moon will encourage you to start thinking about where your energy is best invested. It's a great word for the 8th house, perhaps, is investment. So what are you investing in now, and what can you really feel has come to its ultimate graceful, maybe definite yes, close? The day that I'm releasing these, Pluto will have moved from your sign back into Capricorn for its last dance in Capricorn. So for 2.5 months, we're going to be really seeing the results unfold in front of our eyes of what Pluto in Capricorn may have meant for ourselves and for humanity at large. If you wanted to zoom out, which I know that you do, Capricorn can represent pre-existing power structures. Think about a mountain. You know, the goat of Capricorn is climbing. Think about the word hierarchy. Think about our obsession with the triangle shape and the apex of that triangle being the most desirable. And think about how that shape or that structure has infiltrated into the way that wealth is shared. Financial institutions can be represented by Capricorn too. Think about the revealing nature of the last several years. Think about the people that have felt emboldened in their knowledge that this station that they've been given in this life might not be so equitable, that perhaps their labour and hard work deserves equal respect. Perhaps think about all of the different strategies that we can muster together as we try and reimagine what a functioning economic framework might look like. All of these different things that people are, the privileged few are very aware of their numbers, that their numbers are limited. And the rest of us are becoming more and more aware that our numbers are high. And so this evening of the playing field might show itself as Pluto walks through its last months in Capricorn. Who knows what will happen for sure, but keep those things in mind, especially if you've been feeling cast aside in some way, or you've been feeling overwhelmed by exhaustion at the level of your output and the consistency at which you're expected to use your energy. Can't predict anything for sure. It's not so interesting to me, but you can definitely align the astrology with the current moment, the current climate, the current awareness that people have. Hopefully, this will then aid some work on the ground and we can come together. But this is the last time that in our lifetime we will experience Pluto in Capricorn. These last 2.5 months, there's something almost perversely nostalgic about it. Maybe you've got Capricorn placements on your chart too, and you can start to think about the different initiations, trial by fire that you've been through with Pluto, what you've really had to see destroyed in front of your eyes in order to create space for the new. What has been revealed to you that has been buried, hidden for so many years? What and how have you contended with that truth? I said it to Capricorn that this moment for them is a moment of collecting wisdom, looking at their lives over the past years of Pluto's presence in Capricorn, and then collating that as an offering of help to others. This journey starts here for you, Aquarius Rising. Pluto through the first house. I can only imagine what that feels like. It hasn't happened to me yet. It will in my lifetime, but not yet. It's specific to your time on this planet too. Not everybody will experience Pluto in their first house. So let's think about the essence of your being. Let's think about your brilliant mind and your your ability to strategize. And let's also think about the room that we need to create for you to experience the joys of this life too. I keep on looking at that Nine of Pentacles card, but it's just, I see you there, Aquarius Rising. It's on the way. A moment to rest. What else can I tell you? Let's just leave it at that. That's nice. Hopefully, if you wanted any more specifics perhaps on the astrology of that full moon, you're welcome to write to me and I can explain to you a little further of what it entailed. But if you can cast your mind back to the last horoscope that I gave when we spoke about Saturn and Jupiter, those themes were at play at that full moon in Aquarius, the old world and the new world, the clash of the titans, the refusal to let go of power and supremacy, but then the enforced shedding or vomiting up of the betrayal. All of that, you can just imagine. I see you right in the center of these cards, Aquarius Rising. I see you as being born with it. That incredible mind, that ability to know the truth, that clarity, those ethics. And I think as you can sort of maybe lay to rest some of this beautiful emotional frill, it feels like you're moving from something that feels really sincere, perhaps a little juvenile, perhaps a little unstable in some capacity. I think offers of love and experiences of love, they shape us, don't they? And sometimes it's right to dive on in. That's how we learn. It feels that there's something contemplative about this moment for you, Aquarius Rising, and that the sort of the fear of being vulnerable is sort of, you're reconciling that. It may stay with you, but it can be worked upon. You can face your fears in whichever way feels right for you. But our romantic history or our emotional history can sometimes have its effect for years after the fact. But this, with this astrology, does feel like a closing of one long and rich and beautiful chapter. And in this moment, I'm going to hold it up again, but you can see the link there. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you have all that you need in the center of your being, Aquarius Rising. You're a good person and you are acting in good faith. And right now, Tarot just wants to congratulate you. Tarot wants to have you reflect on your life up until this very point and to think about the harsher bits. We can use that square, that brittleness of that full moon in Aquarius as a mirror. We can use it as a reminder, or it's put a pin in some other moments in your life that felt brittle, that felt conflicted, that felt unjustified or unfair or hurtful. And think about all of those different experiences that you've had over time and the way that your ability to face them and to work through them has developed. And think about the one thing that you've always held on to was your ethics, your intelligence, your intrinsic ability to know the right thing to do. Congratulations. That's your reading, Aquarius Rising. Thank you very much for being here. If you are still here, please put a gold medal in the comments for me in honor of all of the champions that walk among us at this time. If you would like to support my work, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/UmaRuby. I'll leave a link in the description. You can subscribe for 10 Australian dollars a month, or you can put some money in the tip jar. That would be greatly appreciated at this time. If you would like me to draw your birth chart, they look like this, and you can make your appointment at my website, umaruby.com. If you're in Melbourne town and you'd like a face-to-face tarot reading with me, head to the Muses of Mystery website and you can make your appointment to see me face-to-face. Much love to you. I'll be with you in good time to speak about the Pisces partial lunar eclipse that is imminent and approaching, and we'll begin to start to tease out a narrative that is fresh to us and that might feel a little bit insatiable, but we'll get there. Much love and gratitude to you, Aquarius Rising. Take care. Hello, Gemini Rising. Welcome to your reading for the Virgo new moon happening very soon on Tuesday, the 3rd of September at 11:56 a.m. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me, how you doing? I have been out of action again. The aftercare that I'd like to offer you for that last full moon in Aquarius goes as follows, Gemini Rising. The miscommunication and the potential aggravation that was felt over that last lunation that sort of reached this critical point of real tension and potentially inability for people to admit that they are wrong, had its effect in so many different ways that were so obvious in the culture around us and also in my lived experience, my real life. And it became too brittle and too heavy that I really needed the moon. I needed that moment with that giant, bright, full moon to recalibrate. Mercury has been, or had been, retrograde for the majority of August. It's only on the 28th of August that they station direct. And so miscommunications abound, crossed wires, truth purported as fact, falsehoods purported as truth, I should say. You can see there's the afterglow that's still occurring there. What I really kind of felt with the astrology of August, that there was limited room to fight because the confusion of the topic reached a fever pitch. So in this moment, in this afterglow, I want us to recalibrate, and I want us to remember that Mercury, your guiding light, is now on the path again, moving through Leo, and will eventually enter into Virgo on the 9th of September. But there's a clarity that hopefully we can glean. Hopefully there's something that we can work with as far as our ability to course correct or to make reparations if need be as well. It's always incredibly important to know when and why to apologize. So that's that. Thinking about Virgo, the sign, on your birth chart, Gemini Rising, Virgo is the sign that rules your 4th house, which is your root structure. It's your home, where you came from. And so a new moon, when the sun and the moon are together, is a seed sowing potential. We get to think about that part of our life, and we get to hope. We get to cast a spell. We get to write a list. We get to make wishes. When we think about that part of our life, there's something really sort of deeply rooted with Virgo in the 4th house. There's something, hopefully, that can be regenerative for you in that place. What we're looking at is instability moving into next year around those topics of home, roots, ancestry. And so with this clearing, this new moon that we have control to work with, I'd like for you to really think about the long game here. What seed are you planting, and how deep do you need to plant it to make sure that it's safe when the dragon comes and moves into Pisces and into Virgo? that's occurring. We'll get a taste of it next lunation. Next year, we'll be in the thick of it. So the polarity of your public-facing self and your private world will be at odds, and will be some harsher weather to tend to. When I look at the tarot and I think about 11 degrees of Virgo, where this lunation is taking place, it's the 9 of Pentacles. And so you can see that someone there is really good at the long game. They're really good at patience, and they're really good at cultivation. They know how long something is going to take. So think about your private world. Think about where you might like to call home. And that could be a sense of belonging, a sense of home physically. Could also be something deeper. It could be spiritually too. A healthy root structure allows us to branch out, doesn't it? But without those healthy roots, there's always the potential to be knocked over. And so maybe with this sort of hectic forecast that we can see with the eclipses coming up, this lunation is a real reminder to tend to those roots and make sure that they're really sturdy and really solid, that your family, or your chosen family, as best they can, understands you, and you understand them, where they're coming from. Tradition and legacy and all of these words, they mean different things for different people. Not everybody has access to a healthy root structure. A lot of people have spent a lot of their life looking for a home, moving around, trying to find something that will stick. So I can't speak for your personal experience, but what I can speak to is the diversity of the definition. Healthy roots and contentment, they come from inside. They come from that idea that no matter where you rest your head, you have a centered feeling of you belong here on this planet. And that's something that Virgo wants to instill. That's something that Mercury is bringing information with it to help you understand that home, as they say, is where your heart is, and that you will find it when the time is right. So that's the moon. That's the astrology that we're working with this moment of clarity and the foreboding kind of grayer clouds of the eclipses moving into next year. And this isn't to say that things are going to go haywire at home or with your family or with your roots, but it is to say that now is the time to make sure that those bonds are strengthened. Looking at the other astrology, the day that I'm releasing these, I hope, will be the day that Pluto moves backwards into Capricorn. And so we've got 2.5 months to work with the legacy of what we've learned about pre-existing power structures and about the disintegration of those pre-existing power structures. We think about the words like tradition, like institution. You know, human beings love to institutionalize. And I'll leave that up to you as to what that feels like for you. What does legacy, tradition, institution look like in your life? What do you feel looking at your 8th house, your house of unspoken contracts that you signed into in this life? What does it feel like to look at obligation and to feel the tremors of some of that shifting? The common parlance, the words that are on the tip of everyone's tongue these days are revolution, are change. When we think about institutions, there's a yearning and a calling to change the status quo because it's proven to be ineffective. A lot of the tried and true institutions of this world only benefit a very select few from the bloodline from which they came. Inherited wealth and inherited station and status and power, we try and open up the language and we try and remind and remember, tell everybody that we're equally as important as one another. But those institutions are still gripping on to the power that they have had for so long. Now, Pluto takes 248 years to move around the zodiac, so we'll never experience this kind of reckoning astrologically in our lifetime. Pluto will be moving into Aquarius full-time from November, and so therefore the disintegration of old systems and the birthing of new systems will take place. So it's a moment of reflection as well as a moment of intention, this new moon. On the same day that Pluto moves back into Capricorn, the planet Uranus will station retrograde. And so this was the sticking point that had that last full moon feel so brittle. On your birth chart, we know Taurus is your unconscious reality. It's the private chambers of your being. And so in that unconscious knowing, in that sort of yearning to rebel and to revolt, perhaps against what has been given to you, a station retrograde, we remark upon it and we also back it up a little bit too. We review. There's a bunch of reviewing that's going on at this time of the astrological year. Lots of opportunities to reflect on what we've been through, what we've gone, what has happened before. Lots of moments to reflect on what we hope to see have happen in the future, and a lot of responsibility and accountability to take in those mechanisms. So I'm proud of you, Gemini Rising, for going the distance, and I'm really proud of you for reaching this point in your astrological understanding, and I hope that there is opportunity to be found when we sow that seed. Nature's a remarkable thing. It's magic in a way. When you really think about it, from that comes this, or a tree. Healthy roots allow it to branch out. I was gifted the most beautiful drawing in the post the other day, and it speaks to just that, the roots and the tree. I might see if I can include it in these readings in some capacity, but it's a beautiful emblem for right now. A tree is as big underground as it is up top. So let's do this for you, Gemini Rising. Let's make you feel sturdy and solid and grounded and welcome on this planet at this time. Golly, what else can I tell you? So Mercury, your guiding light, the one that helps you understand, is going to have a third face-off, a third square with the rebel in your unconscious reality. So if these dates mean anything to you, think about the 22nd of July, think about the 18th of August, and think about what felt pressurized or what felt rebellious or what felt that it needed to give, what felt aggressive around those times. Don't prepare for more of the same. Prepare for sort of like the culmination, because this is the end of those squares. You know, Mercury's on the path now. So, yeah, that's that. I think, yeah, just thinking of all the Mercury things. Oh, actually, the day that I'm releasing these two, Mercury's going to throw out a line of support to Chiron. So this is actually really lovely to think about, and hopefully this is sort of, you can hear some of this encouragement. Mercury is your guiding planet, Gemini Rising, and Mercury is speaking to the wounded healer, to Chiron, to the one that's been gently showing you the pain points or the bruises in your sense of belonging in the group. So I like that, from fire sign to fire sign, from Leo to Aries. There's a direct line of support today, as well as all of this Plutonian shifting too. So however that lands for you, know that this work that you've been doing starting to find your people and the stopgaps that have shown up along the way. This moment, just today, as I'm releasing these, might hold some keys and opportunities for you to keep fighting, to keep looking, because you will find it, that sense of welcome in the community. How brave of you, Gemini Rising, to take the moments as they roll along and to take the opportunities to start again wherever they may arise. Congratulations. What wasn't perfect becomes something else. There's opportunity in front of your eyes, it seems, wherever you go and whatever alterations you've had to make. I'm really proud of you for rolling up your sleeves and for investigating how to make this work, even though it's a bit faulty, Good on you. I really like that you're feeling more acquainted, perhaps, with the version of you that pre-existed. There's something really nice when you're in friendship or in holding space with people and you sort of drop back into a mode that feels familiar. It kind of feels like the way that you used to roll around when you were a child. That this feeling of nostalgia can be really, really helpful, especially in times of needing to recalibrate or needing to sort through a problem, to find those moments or find those little pockets of time where you're sort of like, oh, I feel really relaxed because I can be myself. They're very valuable, and they help with the bravery too. What I love about this card is the uninhibited nature of the star. I've chatted to a lot of cool people about the potential of Aquarius and the idea that sometimes Aquarians can often feel like outliers or like aliens. They don't quite belong. When you speak that truth to people around you, you'll be surprised that others will open up too. That feeling of alienation in all of its variant forms. It's a unifier. You say, oh, I've never quite felt that I've belonged anywhere. And someone says, oh, me neither. And then you say, really, you? Oh, wow. It's the human condition. That's what the star is the best at. It's highlighting the human condition, developing strategies to help humanity prosper rather than perish. So good on you. Good on you for taking the offer, as imperfect as it may be. It's not quite what you expected, but it looks like it's full of potential. Course correcting, rerouting, trusting your gut, trusting your ability to trust as well. That's a bit of a clunky way to say it, but your intuition is what I'm trying to get at, Gemini Rising. Doesn't lie to you. Be around those that make you feel that you have arrived home, and that will help with some of this seed sowing and manifestation in your fourth house. It's time to come together, and we're going to have to stick together over the next few years as well, I imagine. Big love, Gemini. Thank you for sticking it out with me. If you are still here with me, please put a gold medal in the comments. It's important to honour our champions in their success, isn't it? If you would like to support my work, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and put some money in the tip jar. You can also subscribe for $10 Australian a month there. If you would like me to draw and read your birth chart, they look like that, and you can make your appointment at my website, umoruby.com. I'll put the link in the description below. Pick the spirit reading if we've not met before. I'll be with you with good time and good preparation as much as we can for the Pisces partial lunar eclipse that's on the way. This is starting a new story with the dragon. We're ending one and we're starting another. Things change. Nothing lasts. Everything is made of sand. It'll be okay.